Hello, everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of the Pathogenesis edition. This audio podcast is part of the Torpedo storm, and this audio podcast is part of the Storm Richter. This audio podcast is part of a storm robotics production. This audio podcast will this audio podcast will look into some retrospective or highlight some retrospective data from the UK Renal Registry, and sort of apologies in advance, since the some of the data in context of children and young people and pediatrics, in context of the epidemiology, where the epidemiology in part of this overview is perhaps a little older, since unfortunately in more recent data there are unfortunately been more children and young people diagnosed with different forms of kidney disease, different forms of chronic kidney disease or kidney diseases. A total of 917 a total of 917 children or young people aged less than 18 years with established renal failure or ERF have been receiving treatment at pediatric nephrology sites in 2014, and in more recent data, the number of children or pediatrics and young people less than 18 years of age has actually unfortunately climbed above 1,000, or above 1,000 and closer to 1,500 or thereabouts. At the census data, however, and from 31st of December 2014, 80% of patients aged 18 years had a functioning renal transplant or kidney transplant. 11.2% were receiving renal replacement therapy or kidney replacement therapy in the form of hemodialysis or HD, and 9.5% were receiving peritoneal dialysis or peritoneal dialysis as another form of kidney renal replacement therapy or kidney replacement therapy, or PD. In patients aged 16 years of age, the prevalence of end-stage renal failure was in around 60.4% 60.4 per million age-related population, or PMARP. And in the United Kingdom, in around 2013, the prevalence rate of treated end-stage renal failure or ERF in young people aged less than 16 was 58.2 per million age-related population, and the incidence rate was 9.3 per million age-related population. There are 1,656 young people aged less than 16 years of age who had received a renal replacement therapy or kidney replacement therapy, RRT or KRT, and that is that is hemodialysis or HD, or a or renal transplant or kidney transplant. And in the UK, between 1999 and 2014, in between 1999 and 2014, uh, and so at the same time, analysis of CKD demographics for young people aged less than 16 years of age revealed that 547 patients or recipients reported to the pediatric registry between 1998 and 2002. 536 patients or recipients reported to pediatric registry between 2003 and 2007. 573 patients and recipients reported to pediatric registry between 2008 and 2012. The UK Renal Registry data, or UKRR data, highlighted that 891 young people aged less than 16 years were receiving a form of renal replacement therapy or kidney replacement therapy in the United Kingdom in 2013. And this indicates that CKD has become an increasing issue in young people, and thus there is a requirement or a need for service evaluation to address challenges. So that draws this audio podcast in around looking at some initial epidemiology or retrospective data from the UKRR. This has been an audio podcast as part of the Pathogenesis edition. This audio podcast is part of a Torpedo storm. This audio podcast is part of the Storm Richter, and this audio podcast is part of a Storm Robotics production.